Okay, here's the last one of the four. The other one was the second giant number 2. So you saw the Cervelo, the TCR Advanced number 1, TCR Advanced number 2, the yellow. This is the latest, and this wasn't planned on getting, but it was one of those too good to be true offers. Anyway, here it is. A 9 series truck Madone. So again, I had the Amanda a while ago, and not a lot of truck Madones out there, but having half a dozen rides on this one, it's all dialed in now. It is a fantastically fast bike, full aero. So basically how these aero road bikes, you got to really, if you do get an aero road bike, you really got to ride them. Because for example, if you take, let's take a ruler, a yardstick. At the 0-inch would be the handling of a pure TT bike. At the 36-inch mark would be the handling of a road or a / climbing bike, traditional geometry climbing bike. So when you build an aero bike, you can go anywhere in between 1 and 35 on the yardstick. Most companies and most aero road bikes I've ridden are, in the 12 on the yardstick. So they'd be about a foot in. So they're closer to the handling of a TT bike than a road bike. This is about on the 24, 26 out of 36. So this is on the road side. It's fast. It has aero tubes. All the cord lengths are right. I know one of the aerodynamicist engineers at Trek, and we've talked quite a few times. And yes, it is. This is a true aero road bike. They're kind of a limited production. There's so many complicated steps in building this frame. There's so many little bits and pieces that it just takes forever, and there's usually a 6-week wait to get this bike in if you do order one. If you do, I highly recommend it, this bike. They are in about the $7,500 range, but Trek just came out with the 9.0, and what they've done is, again, it's the same frame, but what they've done is they've put some of the different lower end components, or more, let's say, more traditional components, like the stem and bars is a traditional bar and stem instead of this aero, which I'll show you in a minute, the aero bar and stem. The aero bar and stem has a MSRP of $650. So if you get that sized wrong, $650 for a new one. So they're going with a traditional. So they've cut the price down from a $7,500 bike to a $3,800 bike. So if you are interested in a great handling bike and fast bike, this can do anything and everything the Amanda can do. It's maybe about a pound heavier than the Amanda, but it is much, much faster on the flats. The Amanda down tube is, it's like a sail. It's meant for maximum stiffness on the bottom bracket, which it does that well, but it also catches a lot of wind if you're one of the riders up in front. So this bike is fast. Some of the things I modified, I added that guy. So it's got the 4i power meter on the Dura-Ace crank. One thing I highly recommend, if you do get a power meter, get a dual-sided power meter. The reason is because people that I've tested, most people I've tested here, left-right leg balance are 60-40. And you don't know that unless you get tested. So if you have a single side power meter, like most that go into a left crank arm or in the wheel or somewhere other than dual-sided, you have no idea what your left or right is putting out. So let's say, for example, if you're at 300 watts, let's just do some rough numbers. If you can do 300 watts and you're off balanced, let's say your left leg dominant. So let's say your left leg's putting out 200 watts and your right leg is putting out 100 watts. What would be reported? A single-sided left crank arm power meter would report 400 watts you're putting out, where you're actually putting out 300. So let's say another person is right leg dominant. He's putting out more on the right leg than the left leg. So if he's putting out 200 watts on the right leg and 100 watts on the left leg, the power meter is going to take his left leg at 100 watts, multiply it by 2, and ship it up to the head unit. Now it's reporting 200 watts, where he's actually putting out 300 watts. So a dual-sided power meter definitely helps with the training to keep the legs, remind yourself to keep the legs even and how much to push. And there's a lot of issues about why that could be happening. There's several indicators, how much you're ankling, a bike fit, leg length discrepancies. There are all kinds of different things to figure out why one leg's putting out more power than the other, but definitely most people have that issue, including me. So some of the other little neat features on here, it's all sealed up on the front. Here are the arrow bars. Turn the wheel. There's the headset spacers. There's a number of those that come with the package. If you do want to add your Garmin, there's also a piece that comes with the bike that screws right in there. And then there's an extender out in the front, and you can put your Garmin on that. The other thing I had to get the longer post. The bike was 3 centimeters too short for me, too small. This is again a 56. The standard post is about that long, not enough down here in the seat tube. So this new one comes down about to here. Right to there. So you just loosen these two up, raise and lower your seat posts, clamp it back down. That's how that works. Little ISO decoupler right there. The bike came with no wheels, so I had a spare set of C35s put on here. Rides nice. Again, phenomenally fast bike. If you're thinking about a trek road bike, I highly recommend just splurge and get this one for yourself. Highly recommended. It's unbelievably fast. That's about it for now. We'll go through the bike fit system here in a minute on the next video.